Guys, thanks for checking us out for another detail. On this episode, we're working on this 1966 Mustang GT. So it's Mustang week here. If you didn't notice in the background here, that is a 1968 Mustang. That one just came back from Florida. If you watched the last episode with the Duster, same owner. This one was down in Florida. The Duster he keeps here locally. So that one got cleaned up. It came up on a trailer and got pretty dirty on the way up. So that just got a basic interior, exterior, went over the engine bay. I'll show you a little bit closer look at that one. So this car he bought last year and wound up putting power steering on the car, air conditioning, which air conditioning is a pretty good idea if you're gonna be down in Florida, cruising around, gets pretty hot. And it's a driver. He's enjoying it down there, and then when he comes up here, he enjoys it around this area, hitting up some local car shows and cruises. It's a pretty decent looking car. It's in decent shape as well. There's the interior. So complete car, it's all there, it's pretty solid. Nice little driver. Paint's not perfect. We polished it last year, and just a quick polish this year with a coat of sealant. So you can see there's some imperfections in the paint. He's not really concerned about it. I tried to get some of them out, but overall it looks good, especially when it's outside in natural light. Under these lights, obviously it's gonna show all those imperfections, but it's got a great gloss to it. The wheels look good on it. Definitely a cool little cruiser to hit up some shows. Now on the other side, this one, 1966 GT Fastback. This just got dropped off a few minutes ago. Just pulled it in, and I'm gonna give it a wash today, and then this is gonna be kind of a 2-day thing. Black paint, and it needs some attention. So you can see it's pretty hazed up. A lot of small imperfections in the paint. Some swirl marks from a rotary buffer that we'll have to work out. So this might be a 2-step car, maybe 3, depends. We'll clean up those white walls, white lettering, and make those look a lot better. But like I said, I just pulled this in, so I didn't really take a close look at it yet. I could just see under my lights that we're gonna have to get this paint looking good before. This one's actually getting a ceramic coating. So we'll do the 2-year Jade coating on this one. We're gonna wipe down the interior and just do a quick wipe down of the engine bay as well. So this car, he told me that he bought it from his neighbor. It was actually sitting under a tarp or in a garage for years, and he bought it, I think he said 12 or 15 years ago. And it's been to several shops. They've been working on it. Just got some final touches put on it here locally. And now it's ready to get the paint perfected and looking its best so that he could start enjoying this car. He's super excited about it too, because next week is his birthday, so this is like the best birthday present ever. Get this car done after years and years and years of working on it, not only himself, but sending it out, having other people work on it. He's finally gonna get to enjoy this car for what it is. This is a 4-speed car. He went over the whole interior, so everything's pretty new in here. Like I mentioned, we're not gonna have to do much, just give it a general cleaning, dust off, wipe down, get everything protected, clean up the floor mats, vacuum. Maybe, yeah, overall it's a pretty solid car. The engine bay, not horrible, but again, we're just gonna give it a dust off, wipe everything down, and just give it that nice finished look. It's crazy how much a little bit of lighting, especially in here, makes when you're looking at a car, especially a darker colored car. So it's overcast today, cloudy. It was a little drizzly this morning. So he pulled in, I went outside and looked at it, and I'm like, wow, the paint doesn't look too bad. Couldn't see anything in the paint until we started shining a light on it. Once I backed it in, got out of the car, I immediately looked at the hood and saw the condition it was in. Night and day difference between looking at a car outside and then looking at it in here. So let me give you a closer look at the paint. So if you just follow the lights across the hood here, you can see the buffer marks, you could see just general marks in the paint just from wiping it down. It hasn't really had much done to it other than, you know, kind of sitting in a shop and waiting for things to get done to it. So you can see a a lot of swirl marks. Here's the roof. I don't know what this stuff is here. This feels like grease or something. Yeah, it's coming right off. All of this stuff, I did not see any of this with just outside natural light. So the body work, paint work was done quite a while ago. So we don't really have to worry about any, deep scratches or things that are in there. This is all just pretty light stuff that should polish out. We'll do a test spot after I get it washed and figure out what combo we're going to use. Get these tires looking better, and the wheels, we'll give them a nice little polish, put the coating on those as well. Time to get to work. I'm going to give this thing a bath first to get all the dust off, give it a good strip wash, and get it dried, figure out what combo we're going to use compound polish wise, and then we'll get to rolling. So for white walls or raised white letters, it's in this spray bottle right here. I'm using Superior Products White Wall Cleaner. I think it's called White Wall 1000. I'll put a link down below in the description. You can easily grab that online. But it really does nice work of brightening up these letters and the white walls. You see how they're kind of dingy and brown looking? So after I give them a scrub, I'll use this kind of brush right here to scrub those and the white walls. And then I have my tire brush, which I'll scrub the rest of the tire. This will be my soft bristle brush for the wheels themselves, which are not really dirty at all. They really just had a layer of dust on them. But in my IK sprayer, I have Superior Products Dark Fury and a little bit of P&S Brake Buster combined in this pump sprayer. They still have a little brownness to them. I'm sure they've been sitting for as long as he said the car was sitting, 12 years. And they might need a little extra. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray this on again, let it sit for a little bit, go and do the rear tire, and then come back and do this one. So all I have in this little squirt bottle here is some lacquer thinner, and I had to break this out the other day too. I had a 64 GTO come in with new tires, same thing, BFGs, and I couldn't get the blue off. I mean, it was coming off with the Superior Products wheel or tire cleaner. I had to go back over it a few times with this just to kind of clean it up, and it did make a little bit of a difference from this is the one that I wiped down now compared to the where it says Radial TA down the bottom. So I'll just wind up doing that again, and if they still look a little dingy, maybe get some bleach and see if it'll give a little more whiteness to it. The wheel I just did, this is the rear tire and wheel on the driver's side. And then we'll go over and I'll show you what the passenger side looks like. I think there's quite a difference there. These are still pretty brown compared to the other side. So it definitely made a difference. They're not going to be 100% white. I'll see if I need to wipe them down again, but I think we're getting some improvements here. Off camera, I did my test spot on the trunk lid of the car, and the overall test spot, just trying to figure out the right method to use here, took quite a while. And the one reason for that was because this clear coat is extremely soft on this car, so couldn't get too aggressive. Even a medium aggressive pad just wasn't giving me the right finish that I wanted. So I wound up backing all the way down to a black HDO polishing pad using 3D1. And after a few passes, it was taking out a lot of the blemishes that were in the paint, the swirl marks that were left from the rotary buffer, and the haziness was going away. And you could see there, back and forth on the fender to the hood, the difference that just this first pass was making. So one trip around the car with the black HDO polishing pad, 3D1, and then I am going to come back again with a just a polish on the same polishing pad, but just a lower speed on the polisher, and just work slowly around the car, and that was bringing out the finish. There were a few spots on the hood that had some deeper, I don't want to call them scratches, but almost like scuffs. So I did use the Eurofiber pad with some 3D1, and just the heavier pad there was able to level out that area, and then came back with the black HDO and 3D1. I went up doing about 3 steps on the roof. You could see there's still some wet sanding marks. There were buffer marks, swirl marks that were still in there. So I wound up using the Eurofiber pad first with 3D1, then swapped over to the black HDO polishing pad with 3D1 again, and then came back for a final pass with just a polish to finish out the paint. So 3 steps on the hood, 3 steps on the roof as well. Getting into these louvers on the back window, I have the
Adams mini polisher and just a 1-inch pad. I have 2-inch pads and 3-inch pads depending on what little area I'm trying to get into. But this was knocking out and finishing out the paint really nice. Even on this little area on the top of the quarter, I was able to get to with that polisher. Final pass around the car was Optimum Hyper Polish with the black HDO pad. It's the lower speed on the Roops polisher. Here I'm using Meguiar's prep spray just to remove any polishing residue that's still on the surface and prep for ceramic coating. Moving on now to application of the Jade Ice ceramic coating. So I'm able to work some larger areas today. Conditions were just right, low humidity, temperatures were in the 60s, and when those conditions are just right, this process moves along pretty quickly. It's when the humidity is high, temperatures are high in the shop where you have to work some smaller areas because the flashing point of the coating itself is pretty quick. So you can't get away with working a large area. Here you can see I'm using a two towel method to first wipe and level out the coating as it's flashing, and then I come back with another clean microfiber towel and just wipe any residue that's still on the surface. After I was done applying the coating, moving on to the engine bay detail. So I'm just using some all-purpose cleaner, Tornador, just kind of misting the area, using a brush to agitate, just wipe everything down. It's basically just a dust-off detail on the engine bay. There's not really any grease or any buildup, so we're just wiping everything down and getting this engine bay looking good. For the underside of the hood, I'm just using some bead maker and a microfiber towel to wipe off any dust or residue that's under there. Everything looked clean, and then the final spray that I'm going to use coming up here is Meguiar's non-silicone just dressing, and I'm just going to wipe down all the hoses and the plastics and just dress them up a little bit. Interior just needed a quick dust off, vacuum, toss the mats back in. Gonna throw some tire shine on the tires, and time to show you how this thing turned out.
All right, so just wrapping up this detail on this 66 Mustang. It was quite a venture getting around the paint. About 3 steps. You saw them, I explained them. It took quite a while. The paint was super soft. So you couldn't get too aggressive, and if you didn't get aggressive enough, then you weren't knocking out those light scratches. It was getting hazy, so I had a little bit of a battle for a while until I finally locked it in and was able to, tune down what I had to use and knock this paint out. It looks way better, has a great gloss to it now, has that deep, wet look to it, even before I put the ceramic coating on. But it's ready to head out the door. I'm gonna get this thing out in the sun and see what it looks like outside. Customer's gonna pick it up tomorrow, and he'll get it back and finally be able to enjoy this car after that long period of restoration on this. I'm really looking forward to driving this car and enjoying it. I think it's going to be a great car to cruise around in, hit up some shows, hit some back roads, and just enjoy it for a while. All said and done on this one, I'm probably about 11 hours in. I started it yesterday, got it washed and prepped, and then between figuring out a test spot and what method I was going to use, going around the vehicle 3 times, and then ceramic coating it, so that would be a 4th time I went around it, and then just a quick interior and engine bay detail. About 11 hours. So that's typical for a car like this. You don't want to rush it. You got to take your time, make sure you get all the nooks and crannies and get all those fine scratches out. Really, it was majority of the stuff that was in there was just buffer marks, holograms from whenever it was repainted, and they just didn't finish it out, fine tuning. Again, that's why it comes in here, just for that fine tuning stuff, get everything looking its best. But this thing's fully protected. We did the wheels, we did all the windows, the trim, and obviously the paint, got the Jade Ice ceramic coating. So keeping this thing looking this good is going to be pretty easy for him now. The only other thing, the other issue I had, and I tried a second time on those white letters, I just can't get them bright white. And this is like the first time this has ever happened to me. I tried Superior tire cleaner, which usually knocks the white walls and the letters, usually knocks whatever's on them off and cleans them up perfect. I tried bleach, I tried tar remover, I tried mildew remover. I scrubbed them and they still have like a little brownish tint to them. I don't know if they're just really old and they've been dirty for so long, or if their tire shine was put on them years and years ago and it kind of just soaked into it and stained it permanently. I don't know. Comment down below, let me know if you're using some sort of chemical or what your trick is to clean white walls. Like I said in the past, I never had an issue. For some reason with these, not brightening up as well as past tires, white walls or raised white letters. Let me know what you use. That's gonna wrap up this detail on this 66 Mustang. I'm gonna send this out the door and I need to put my feet up and rest for a little while. It was a long day working on this car, up and down on the stool, rolling around. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications for any future details we have, and as always, thanks for watching.